of the Monte del Vino Real, a 1,000-year-old kingdom that grew some of the finest wine grapes in the world. Sofia Maria Isabel de Esperanza y Santos, a millionaire winemaking inventor, was its princesa. And Roman Sheppard, raised in a Texas trailer park and now head of an international security firm, was technically a príncipe. A reluctant warrior prince proclaimed the tabloid headlines that popped up again when his brother named him the king's advisor. Reluctant or not, he'd agreed it made sense for him to be up here, in front of the crowd, with his siblings and their spouses and kids. 13 years ago, as an honorably discharged former Army Ranger, still finding Iraqi sand in his gear, Roman had rescued Daniel Trujillo's 18-year-old kidnapped daughter. When he'd handled the bundle of brave, weeping girl to her father, she'd been resolutely chatty and stiff upper-lipped for the 4 hours it had taken him to rescue her and drive her to safety across the desert, and hadn't fallen apart until she'd seen her dad. It had formed a bond that Roman had drawn upon when he'd asked the tycoon for a loan to preserve the kingdom. Trujillo's loans to the Monte were now paid off. His loans to new wineries that had helped to create a booming wine and tourism industry in the kingdom had become investments. And Daniel had recently stepped aside as CEO of Trujillo Industries, the family company that under his tenure rose to dominate the Mexican auto industry. Roman guessed that was why he'd gotten the surprising email that he was coming for a visit. The tycoon finally had time to see all that his money had accomplished. Roman was looking forward to seeing the older man. Their correspondence over the last 10 years had always been short and sweet. Roman had included quick updates about the use of Trujillo's investment and the state of the kingdom along with the loan repayments. He'd also sent the occasional thank you note or birthday card. And Daniel had replied with useful advice, easy guidance, or sometimes just a good razzing answer. Roman asked questions or gave shit back. The back and forth had sometimes included an invite to Mexico, which Roman had never accepted. But now the retired CEO had come to the Monte, and the main reason Roman gave in and stood up here with his insistent family was to keep everyone safe. His hard-headed sister could poke him in the ribs all she wanted. He was here to keep Daniel safe, to keep the royal family safe, to protect every single yelling, screaming, clapping person who called the Monte del Vino Real home. That was Roman's job, and it was what he was good at. Glory's voice interrupted the standoff with his sister. "The advance team has signaled all clear. He's coming out." At the top of the platform, Trujillo's men took a ready position on either side of the airplane door. The crowd noise went up. Half of the villagers sang a popular Mexican reggaeton song. When the door popped open, the crowd's voice became a roar. Then fell abruptly when a woman stepped out on the platform. She seemed not to notice the sudden stillness. She slowly looked over the crowd as she walked toward the podium, a soft smile on her face, taking in the people and the view Roman knew by heart. The endless vineyards turned gold and rust after harvest, the red terracotta roofs of the village in the distance, the 600-year-old Castillo del Monte, and the snow-peaked mountains protecting and dominating it all. She took her time, her hands pressed against her chest in her wide collared coat, a look of wonder on her face. Then this woman, the newly named CEO of Trujillo Industries and one of the wealthiest people in the world, threw her arms out wide and waved exuberantly at the people of the Monte del Vino Real. The joy beaming from Cenobia Trujillo's face popped the lid off the villagers' excitement. Roman had protected Nobel Peace Prize recipients and organized security when U2 played a surprise concert in Trafalgar Square, but he'd never heard a roar like this one. He latched onto his 2 tours in Iraq to suppress his own emotion. He hadn't seen Cenobia Trujillo in 13 years. He certainly hadn't expected to see her today. According to the furtive Googling he did every 6 months or so, this 31-year-old newly minted CEO planned to launch a car in a month that would change the Mexican auto landscape.